When the sun is up, my ideal location is out here in my garden, tending to my plants and watching life unfold around me. And while I'm pretty well aware of what happens in my garden during the day, what happens in my garden at night? Oftentimes I'll find signs of what is going on at night, but rarely do I have a first-hand account. So I decided to venture out at night and explore my property in a way that I have never done before. I chased fireflies, I set up trail cameras, did light cheating, and walked around with specialized lights. Here's what I discovered. During the summer, my time in the garden typically ends when the fireflies come out, so they seemed the perfect place to start my nocturnal exploration. But it didn't take more than a few minutes for me to realize how hard this video would be to make. Trying to film a tiny flying, blinking insect in the dark is not easy. But they're hard to film for the same reason they're so fascinating: the elusive and fleeting rhythm of their light. Fireflies produce light through a chemical reaction known as bioluminescence, and they do this in specialized cells in their abdomen known as photocytes. The flashing patterns of fireflies vary by species, and there are over 170 species of fireflies just in North America alone, something I didn't know until recently. And those flashes are a form of communication that is attempting to attract a mate. Males signal out to neighboring females who respond with a specific flash pattern of their own. You may have heard that in many areas of the US, firefly populations are on the decline. And firefly populations are on the decline due to habitat loss and degradation. Neatly mowed lawns are not great for them. Then you have pesticide use, light pollution, and climate change. I am fortunate to have a lot of fireflies on my property, partly because how I'm managing the property. Fireflies rely on specific conditions to thrive: moisture, food sources like decaying leaves, and the right kind of environment for their larvae. If you want to attract fireflies to your yard, you need to provide these things. Think wet, shady areas with plenty of organic matter. Leave those leaves. Keep pesticides to a minimum and limit artificial light at night. Next, in my nocturnal adventure, I set up trail cams to see who else was active in the garden after dark. These cameras are great for capturing nocturnal wildlife, and they can show you much more than you expect. But they were not without issues. I had a lot of problem with them going off delayed, that I would catch just the last few seconds, the behind of a lot of raccoons, or probably just the same raccoon over and over again. But finally, I got some shots of the raccoons in my garden, as well as proof that my current garden setup is not going to work for growing sweet corn. Something that I knew given the raccoon pressure, but attempted anyway. They've eaten all my sweet corn. Next year, if I want corn, I think I'm gonna need an electric fence. In addition to the cameras being slow to record, I also had a lot of issue with foggy lenses. It's really humid in Kentucky during the summer, and I missed a lot of interesting shots. Like, look at this. This is a coyote. It's not my dog, because this is what my dog looks like in the cameras. I got a lot of footage of Greta. I hear them all the time, I've seen them once, but now I have a brief, very blurry footage of a coyote. In addition to animals, I also caught this early morning rainstorm. And of course discovered that I had a garden rat. I made a whole video on my rat problem, which I will link to in the video description. Came out at night doing what is called light sheeting. I have UV lights pointed at a white backdrop to attract moths and looks like literally everything else that's outside right now. Hoping to see some of the big iconic moths, but we shall see. My journey into the night just so happened to include Moth Week, which is an annual event dedicated to the celebration, observation, and conservation of moths. During Moth Week, participants are encouraged to set up light sheets to attract moths for observation and photography, and then submit those recorded sightings to contribute to citizen science databases like iNaturalist to help researchers track moth populations. As the night progresses, the insects are getting slightly larger, I think. I'm seeing more, maybe medium-sized moths. Nothing really big though yet. Now, I saw a whole lot of moths, but none of the iconic moths, like a Luna moth or this cool moth. But it also made me realize that I don't know a whole lot about moths. Like, I couldn't identify any of these at first sight. I've since then looked up some of the names, but moths are absolutely fascinating and don't get enough praise. They're crucial to the ecosystem. They provide food for birds, bats, and other animals, and often moths are the foundation of food webs in many of the ecosystems of North America. Ugh, too close. Too close. One of the coolest things I saw was probably this lady beetle devouring little insects like Pac-Man. Lastly, to round out my nighttime adventure, I walked around the garden with different lights to see what I could spot. Using a red light is great because it doesn't disturb most nocturnal creatures. Many animals, like insects, can't see red light, so it lets me observe them without disrupting their activity. But I also tried infrared light, which shows a whole different world. Some things glow under infrared light. One of the things that I was looking for were tomato hornworms. Thankfully, I didn't find any, but I do know that those light up under a UV light. So if you have a problem with hornworms, head out at night and they're much easier to spot using an infrared or UV light. Taking the time to walk around my property with these lights just revealed how much is going on. I think I saw more insects at night in the little time that I spent out than I typically see during the day. It's a world that I rarely think about during my daily routine, but there is so much going on out here. So does this mean that I'm going to become a night owl now, spending my time out in the garden, seeing what creatures are about? No, I am extremely tired right now. I'm an early riser, tend to wake up at 5 a.m., but you do see some cool things out here. If you haven't spent a lot of time outside at night on your property, in your garden, I definitely encourage you to try it out, to see what you see. Maybe you need to load up on a little bit of bug spray and stay up past your bedtime, but if you consider yourself a nature lover, only seeing nature during the daylight might be cutting out 50% of what there is to see. Hopefully you like this video. It took a ton of time to edit because there was so much footage. Videos like this tend to do horrible for me, but I really like making them because these little challenges push me to do things that I probably wouldn't otherwise do. If I didn't have this sort of experiment set up of exploring my property at night, I may not have done it. So if anything, it was good for me. If you liked it and you've made it this far, please give it a thumbs up and drop a comment, engage with it, so maybe other people will see as well. Have a good one, and good night.